Hello, my name is Peter Phelps of Phelps 3D, and in this tutorial on FreeCAD 016, I'm going to discuss how to use one of the add-on macros that I like. So you'll have to download the macro or copy and paste it into a text file, and it's called macro FCCircularText by a Mario 52, I believe was the name. It's funny, the code says there's a copyright and it uses a name that, is a moniker. It's not a real name. But then he's given it away to everybody, so who cares? It's a really useful tool. So in order to run it, you have to do the macro, and then run macro, or execute macro. Every macro you install will show up into this list. Now the macros are usually installed into your username, AppData, FreeCAD, and then there's a macro folder, I believe. So you have to put if you just copy and paste the text, make sure it has the .fmc macro extension, and I'm going to say execute. This tool is very, very useful if you want to wrap text around a cylinder, wrap it inside whole, put it in an angle, etc. I'm going to change the text to okay. You could change the font if you wanted. I'm not really sure how well this works. But I'm going to leave it as Arial for right now. Now, outdoor, indoor. So, outdoor, you create the text on the outer side of the cylinder, or circle. Indoor, inside the cylinder. Helix, you create text on a helix, or in a helix, and then clock, of course, is what we're used to if you're creating a clock type setup. There's different types of modes, like right now it's standing up. So if I took this, let's see, let's make the radius a little bigger, 20. The size of my characters, I'm going to make that bigger. And this is in millimeters, not points. If you're used to using points, this is actually in millimeters. So I'm going to make that 10 millimeters. 0 to 360. You can control where it starts and where it ends. So say I want this to only really be 180 degrees rather than a full circle. I can enter that in. The correction angle and the correction radius, for the most part I've left this normal. I leave them alone. But there are instances where if I'm trying to do like on a cone type shape, which I can play with later, I might work on that. I might tell it, say, don't correct it at all. Sometimes it can give you some really weird skewed characters if you don't. So the only thing I don't think about this is as soon as you click run, it's going to reset any of these data points that you've created. So you can't just tweak it a little. You're going to have to start all over, know what your settings are, and keep going back and forth until you get what you want. So if I click run, and then I'll exit, Okay, you might have to zoom in. Oops, wow. Well, that didn't work out very well, did it? All the letters jumbled together. So, I may have made them too big. You can't just go into here and change it. You just tend to just delete the entire thing and start over. Okay, so let's try again. Oops. I'm gonna leave it 360 this time. Maybe I need the circle to be bigger. We'll go like 6 this time. Leave it 360, leave that. And stand moons, it goes up like we saw before. Run it. I'm gonna minimize this. Although I don't know where it just went. Okay, it went. Okay. So, as you can see, there we go. Now sometimes it does this. It puts in weird gaps. So one of my little complaints is that I end up sometimes going in here, going into the shape strings, like if I wanted to find, see, okay, here, see, visit. The eye probably should be a little further out. So what I do is I go into the placement, and, well, actually, you can't do it this way. You gotta go in, you gotta click on the object, go edit, placement, click in apply incremental changes to object placement. Then you can switch the axis to Z, and then I can sit here and move it until I like where it's at to adjust it and say okay. And you can sit there and you can tweak all of them. Let's see, T looks like way too far out. Edit, placement, apply incremental changes, select C, and move it in some. So that's how I fix it when it's got really weird gaps in the letters and stuff. And what I could do is I could combine all these. I could take this shape string. I could go to part, and I can make that a compound. Part, make the compound. Then you can go down here, click on the compound, and then it could be also rotated or moved around the Z-axis. That's how I correct it. So that's just a tip. I'm not going to sit here and show you going through and correcting all of it right now. I just wanted to show you how, if you wanted to, you could work with this. Then you can, of course, you take my compound here, extrude. Now, The hard part is trying to figure out which direction to extrude this. Because it's circular. If I say extrude, which direction is it going to go? I'm going to try I'm going to delete the Z, so 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 0.5 and 0.5 and 0.5 create solid and say 1 and see what happens. Because this isn't like it's flat. It's not on a single plane that you can say, hey, I want to extrude it so much on the X, or I want it so much on the Y. So I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to try both X and Y and say okay. And it kind of works. Maybe I should have probably gone negative on the. Let's try that again, or edit it. It won't let me. Okay. I'll delete the extruder. And what I should have probably done. Extrude. I should have said negative 0.5 on the X, on Y, and then 0.5 on that. And I'm going to give it longer this time just to show. Create solid. Okay. Now, that still looks a little weird. Went maybe a little too far. But you can play with them. You can play with the settings over and over. Get exactly what you want. Fine, I can try to just extrude it, let's say by the X. That probably came closer to what I wanted. Most of the time you're going to either be adding something to an object or cutting it to the text. So that was a demo of just how to work with that. Let's try the different. Let's try the. Oh, whoops, the thing's already open. Sorry. Okay, so same text, but we're gonna go indoor this time. Radius, I think I'll go 50. I'm gonna change this to 270, and I'll leave the corrections on right now. Now you can change where it's placed by using placements, so it doesn't have to be around the origin all the time. A space inclination. Oh, actually no. This is the. I'll show you how to use this one. This one lets you set the degree of it later, but I'm gonna go ahead and run that. So now you can see that it's facing the inside. And see, I went 270, so to do the whole 360. But now it's facing inside. And this one, because of the way it looks pretty well evenly spaced out, all the letters. So I might not tweak that, depending on what I'm doing or what effect I really want. And what you could do is click all the shape strings, shift part, and we will go make a compound again. And you take that compound, extrude it, create solid, to, I'm not going to say Z because it would look funny. And here again, trying to use an extrude might be a little weird because you're not going to extrude it in just a single or what you could do, let's see, try this along normal. This works for plain rolling. I'm not sure what that's going to do. No, that didn't work. Okay, it was worth a try. I'm going to go back and try just the try this 0.5, 0.5. I don't know what that's going to do because it's circular. Did I forget to put? I might click the. Yeah, because it's circular. Some of the parts are going one direction, some of the parts are going the other. I wonder if you can pad those. I wonder what that has to do. Oh, I was hoping to pad it all. Maybe I can't pad just all of it. Okay. That's what I just pad that on. Okay, if you pad them, let me go back to 3D view so you can see where. If you pad them like this, it will do it based on their position. So it's going to pad like all the way in towards it. But that might be better than trying to use the extrude on it. Maybe I'll have to get rid of the compound. So you see what's happening. It's padding based on the position of the text. Now, of course, in this case, you might have wanted the pads to go the other way. Let's check this one, pad it, but instead of 2, I'm going to go -2, or, well, no, I can do 2, but say reversed. Say OK. Now, if you were trying to make a cut into something, that would probably work better, using the reversed pads. Of course, once you create a pad, you can always double click it. So now they're facing out the way that this should go for a cut if you were trying to cut into something. Sorry, I got myself all upside down. So yeah, you can pad each of those, and that would work better than using Extrude. Alright, I think I'm done on that horse. Let's try a different configuration of the, no, I guess it's separated it out. Did that. Okay. So, let's try a helix and see what happens. Let's give stats for helix. I'm going to say 5. Characters per turn. Okay. Maybe I should say radius. I'm going to put 30. I'm going to leave the rest of these alone right now. Let's run that. Maybe I should be on for 40. Let's just see what that does. So helix is basically like you would for a staircase or your a screw. You would use it for that. You could use it for spring, other types of things. So let's minimize this. That really looks weird. But it basically wraps the characters. See, and you know, this is going up. Is it? You can see how it wraps around. Not sure how useful that one is, but it's possible. You can spin your characters around in a helix on a surface for some reason. Interesting. Just leave it at that. Now clock, of course, that one's pretty useful. I'm going to go 30. There's almost 40 again. 6. Radius of support number face. You can make Arabic and redress. I'll leave that one right now. By default, radius of circle, so let's say 40. Just run it. But it doesn't use the text you're actually doing. It's set up to just do the numbers. So I guess you could use this for a sundial or something else if you wanted a 3D print. Of course, sundials, I learned that the numbers are set up a little differently, depending on where you're at, whether in the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, etc. It can be interesting to design, but that's basically how you use the clock one. It doesn't really spin your text into that area. Okay, and I'm going to then describe how to use the angle, the inclination part of it. So we'll use my same text and stick to the outdoor. And make the radius of circle again 30. Size of my characters 6. I'm going to go ahead and leave the whole angle, but this time I'm going to get rid of the corrections, because once you do the inclination it starts to tweak funny. And I'm going to say 45 degree angle on my Z. So what this does it should create angled text. You can use this to match up like on the surface of a cone if you wanted to, or maybe the inside of a circular fillet. That's what I used this one on the surface of a circular fillet. So if you had like made sure your fillet was 45-degree angle, you could go like that for the inside surface of a circular fillet. But let's switch over to the other direction. If you go indoor, 40, I'll go 5 this time. Again, I'm going to take the correction angles out. But this time I'm going to say negative 45 and run it. And I got the same thing. Okay, I think maybe 45, negative 45, probably doesn't matter. It's still the inside one. Let's see what happens. Indoor. Well, maybe if I use 270. No. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want. Making it negative. Well, when I turned it indoor and then I made it negative, I goofed it up. Sorry. So it still needed the same angle, but I messed it up. But this is how you would do it. No, kind of how you would do it. It's still not the result I wanted. And if it was a play going the other direction, that would be fine. Because right now it's still going towards the inside. I was hoping to show how to put it on top of the cone. Let's try one more time. Maybe if I went outdoor 40, move the inclinations, and then to the negative 45. Sometimes some of the stuff in FreeCAD you're just gonna have to play with until you figure it out. Okay, that's better. So this should put the text actually on the outside of like a cone or cone-shaped surface. If you wanted to cut in, you cut, or you'd probably use reverse pads. But if you wanted to extrude out, you pad directly this way. So that's how to get it so it's on the shape of outside of a cone. And you can change. I'm just using 45 degrees as a because it's a simple angle to use. You can change that angle to anything you want. You can change the other two angles too, but I haven't really done that. Oh, and I haven't shown you how changing the mode works. See, 40. I'll leave those there for right now. But you can change the from mode to flat. So if you go mode to flat, you run it. Before it was standing upright. So now we're going to make them flat. Now you can look at it from the top. Visit to yourselves as well. Blah, blah, blah. And so, okay, you see how these letters are kind of angled? That correction radius thing, that is part of it. Sometimes I'm not too crazy about it, and you'll have to play with the numbers to get that so that, like, this looks okay, but then the further around it gets, it starts to angle out a little further. So that's why you need the correction radius numbers. And you can tweak them and play with them. Let's see. I'm going to click the indoor one. So we're going to go flat. Go 40 millimeters, 5 again. But this time I have to change the correction. Now, sometimes I want it to be a little less. So I'm going to say 0.05 and 0.5. And I'm going to say 5. And you can extrude the characters in here. I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. If you want to extrude the characters, you can put it right in here. And that would probably even be better than the pad. Because you can do it right here. I'm sorry. I forgot about that one. So I'm going to just say run. Okay. Now if you see here, it doesn't angle as much. You don't have where it starts to look really like it's coming out of the circular angle, and it's a little bit still. So playing with correction angles is a good idea too when you're working with this. You see now they are actual. You could go ahead and use that to cut or put this directly on this with the extrude on an object. Like I said, you can play with the go in there. Now you've got shape strings and extrudes. The nice thing with extrudes is you can go ahead and click them, and you can, well, it still has an angle. See how it has an angle already on it. So you're probably going to still have to take that and go up into this. I wanted to change the eye position. It's, you have to go placements, incremental, Z, move it. But that doesn't work. I keep forgetting that. You have to move the original object. And even the shape string itself, not the extrude, for some reason. It's stuck to the original. Because I can't see. Oops. Oops. Well, now I'm rotating the object itself, not it around the Z axis. So that was a bad idea. We'll go to 0. Yeah, it's rotating the part itself rather than it around the origin. Okay, well, maybe that is a good reason to still play with it separately before padding or extruding. Of course, with these, when they're flat, it's really easy to extrude them because you extrude upon the Z. Okay, so I've shown you. I don't think there's much more I haven't shown you. Yeah. So play with it, get to know this tool. I think it's a really, really great tool, even though it's a little complex to try to play with or figure out sometimes. Like I said, you can play with all the settings. I'll leave correction angles alone. Extrude characters. 3mm. I'm going to change the placement. Just for the heck of it. Of course, you could take all the extrudes. You can always take all the extrudes and make them into a compound or single part and move the entire thing if you want. So it moved it. It only did the 180. But it creates solid parts. So please visit Peter Phelps' website at phelps3d.co. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.